and welcome to week 411 of online devotionals. Well, I know it's not been quite that long, but it certainly seems like it. I feel like we are living life in dog years now. Whatever resolutions we made at the beginning of this year have certainly gone by the wayside. This year has not gone as any of us imagined it would. And as someone who is a planner, I'm feeling quite vexed. Normally by this point, I am knee-deep in Christmas music, ordering what the choir will sing and getting orchestra players lined up, preparing the youth choir folders, and getting ready for our preschool and children's choirs to get started. It's a time that's chaotic, but it's chaos that I know and love. This current situation and chaos that we are in, I don't love so much. I like having a schedule and a routine. And as the saying goes, I want to believe that I know what I like, but the truth is I like what I know. Now, I don't know what some of you have been doing during this time, but I know that a lot of you have been doing lots and lots of yard work, just as I have. I would like to say that as a result of all my yard work, that my yard and flower beds look like a photo shoot out of Southern Living. No. The truth is, my yard looks more like a hospice house for plants. I try very hard to keep my hanging baskets and my flower beds alive. I weed, I water, I tell them to hang in there, but they struggle. Now here's the part that I really cannot understand. I knock myself out trying to grow my flowers and keep my grass green. But you give me a crack in the driveway and I will grow you a beautiful garden. I have all kinds of vegetation growing in the concrete with absolutely no help from me. In fact, I try very hard to kill that and it just keeps coming back. Now, I'm no master gardener by any stretch of the imagination, but I do know a few things about gardening. And one thing that I am very good at is pruning. I start out with a plan to trim back some limbs, and the next thing I know, I have cut whatever it is I'm trimming down to the nubs and there's not a leaf left on it. It started out looking full and green, and it ends up with just a pile of sticks at the bottom. But then in a few days, something amazing happens. New growth begins, and the new growth results in a much healthier plant. Now, while the plant initially looked healthy and thriving, if left to continue to grow as it was, it would eventually begin to die. The overgrowth on top would keep the roots from getting the sun and the water that it needs to maintain a healthy plant. But by cutting away the growth at the top, the roots can remain healthy and the plant will continue to grow and become stronger. Another important part of gardening is to take care of the soil. When I was growing up, my dad always planted a huge vegetable garden. He grew a variety of vegetables, and through canning and freezing, we enjoyed those vegetables all year long. I still think there is nothing better than homegrown tomatoes, corn on the cob, and fresh green beans. Now my job, of course, was to pick the vegetables out of the garden. I didn't love doing that, but I did love eating the fruits of my labor, so to speak. But one of the things that made the garden grow successfully was by not planting the same things in the same spots every year. Different plants need different nutrients, and by moving the plants around, the soil could remain rich without getting depleted. It was nature's way of feeding the soil so that the soil in turn would feed the plants. You know, we all have gardens that need tending, whether literally or figuratively. After all, the very first thing that God gave Adam was a garden with instructions to take care of it. I find that when I work in my yard, it's a great time to think about life. What is it in my life that I am nurturing? What is it in my life that needs attention so it can grow and bloom? What is it in my life that has become depleted and needs to be replenished? What is it in my life that needs to be cut out so that new growth can happen? In John 15, Jesus says, "I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, so that it will become even more fruitful." Now, as the question was posed to Mary quite contrary, how does your garden grow? Does your garden need to be replenished? Does it need new plants? Does it need to be nourished? Does it need to be pruned? We all need to tend our gardens so that we can bear the fruit that God, the Master Gardener, created for us to bear. So, pick up your gardening tools. We have work to do. May it be so. Amen.